Everyone wants to live an inspired life, yet so many people search for happiness following the footsteps of peers and taking advice from people who have different values and outcomes to which they're searching. There are people born into wealth, graduated from the best universities in the world, and there are people who have none of that and yet are living extraordinary lives full of fulfillment and reward. The purpose of this podcast is to share insights and strategies that allow you to question the status quo and think freely, so you can design your life and be who you want to be. We get one life. Time is our most valuable asset. I believe that when we're free and able to focus on meaningful work, we become better human beings. This is Always Free, and I'm your host, Jason Graystone.
Welcome to the leading podcast for financial empowerment and wealth creation. Subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss an episode. You can connect with Jason on social media and subscribe to the Jason Graystone YouTube channel for weekly videos. Don't forget to also subscribe to the weekly newsletter to receive frequent educational content and action steps to help you design your life so you can be who you want to be. For news on all future events and updates, go to jasongraystone.com.
Well, welcome back to the podcast, guys. I hope you had a nice week so far. Hope you're enjoying this lovely hot May weather. Oh no, I don't know what's happened to May this year, but it's definitely not like last year. But there's some light at the end of the tunnel. I guess it's a nice day today, and I think it's going to warm up for the weekend. But my name's Jason Graystone. This is the #1 podcast for financial empowerment and wealth creation. This is the first time you're listening. If it is, definitely go back to episode 1 and start listening there. I will have to say, though, Apple, the way that Apple iTunes or Apple Podcast works is they tend to kind of remove old podcasts. There's a limit of how many podcasts remain on their playlist at any one time. So a few weeks back, we started to see episode 1 had disappeared, then episode 2 had disappeared, then 3, then 4. And I think we're up to about 9 now. So the earliest you can go back is 9. And I'm telling everyone every week to go back and listen to episode 1, because that's how you're going to get the most out of this podcast. Because episode 1 to 20, I get a real kind of in order strategy that allowed me to reach a level of financial freedom by the time I was 29. And I gave you that in order. So that's a bit of a pain, but you can still find the episodes on a dedicated YouTube channel called Always Free Podcast. And you can also find them on Stitcher, Podbean, SoundCloud, all TuneIn, all the other Spotify, all the other podcast platforms. It's there available. It's just Apple Podcasts, for whatever reason, doesn't do it. And it's a bit of annoying, but anyway, if this isn't the first time you're listening, welcome back. I hope you had a good week. This week, I want to talk about the financial markets. We're talking about specifically retail trading. We're talking specifically about brokerages. We're talking specifically about what's going to trip you up and what isn't, and what to look out for, and some of the qualities that you want to have in mind when you're going to look for 1, a platform, 2, a broker, and 3, just an approach to trading. Because we have seen more people flood into the retail trading space over the last 18 months than I've ever seen during my time in the industry. My time in the trading space, I've kind of, whether or not it's more now than it has been before in my time in the trading space, but I've definitely just noticed it for the first time, where it's been a real kind of obvious flood of people going into it. And we're around that time, and for many of you listening, it's going to be a similar situation, because if you've been trading anything from 0 to 10 years, the chances are this is the first time you've been trading in an environment of a recession. And before a recession, there's a boom and a bust. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing all the greed in the market right now, the disconnect between the fundamentals and the technicals and what's actually going on. We've seen people place trades off of tweets. We've seen people getting into trading just because of Twitter and Elon Musk and the news, which is absolutely crazy. Okay. Now, you guys know there is a lot of money to be made in trading, and the trading is one of the things that was kind of the final piece of the puzzle for me to accelerate the kind of leveraged income stream that I needed to remove my active income. And that was hard enough back then without all this craziness going on. So the purpose of this podcast is to really share with you some insights and some tips and some kind of warnings so that you don't end up spending years and years of wasted time and financial, just getting yourself into financial turmoil. So I'm joined today on the podcast by a good friend of mine, Stuart Lane. Now, some of you have heard of Stuart Lane from my other posts, right? Because he's been featured multiple times. He's done a huddle with my mastermind group. He's done we featured him on a podcast a little while back when I did the recorded meeting talking about some other brokerage topics. And you've obviously seen him on my videos on YouTube when we spoke about tax on traders. Stuart Lane is someone who I trust when it comes to brokerages. Okay. And I know that many trading educators and people in the trading space are very, very wary of talking about brokers because of the craziness that we live in right now, where you can get sued for for putting your coffee on your lap when you pull away from a drive through and burning yourself and then suing the company. That's crazy. I've been in the space long enough now to think, do you know what? If people are going to lose anyway, and they're going to go and do something stupid anyway, I want to at least have my circle of friends, my circle of trust that I can say, look, this is who I trust. And these are the people that I trust. And whether that's an accountant, here's the accountant I trust. If it's a coach of some kind, this is the coach I trust. If it's a broker, this is the broker I trust. And I'm going to have those there so everyone can just say, right, well, that's who Jason trusts. And these are the people that I know have their client's best intention at heart. And if you decide to go elsewhere, then guess what? I can't vouch for the experience you're going to have there. But for me, it's all about integrity. It's all about looking out for the interest of the client. And Stuart's one of those people. So thanks for coming on, Stuart.
Thanks, Jason. Lovely to be here. Morning, everybody.
Excellent. So what we're talking about this week is retail trading. So before we get into it, Stu, just tell anyone who doesn't know who you are just a bit about you and what you do.
Okay, so I'm CEO at a broker called Trade Nation. I've been doing this for 33 years, starting to get the grey hairs and losing it as well. So yeah, it's been an extraordinary time in the industry, but I've worked for a number of brokers, some of the big names that people will be familiar with, and have been with Trade Nation for the last 7 years now. So yeah, we, like many other brokers, we're offering access to the financial markets, and I think that's really how to view a broker.
Yeah,
you need to get access to the financial markets to be able to trade them, and this is what brokers do. They provide that platform, that access to those markets. And as brokers sort of changing their business models and trying to become educators, it always sat a little bit strangely for me with a broker also trying to be an educator. There's some fantastic educators out there, you being one of them, Jason, and I think that people you need to think about what your needs are as a trader, and I think getting education outside of where you're going to place your trades. View the broker very much as that's the portal that you need. You need the access. Go and find the best access. Go and find what suits you best. But get your education from somebody you trust, somebody that you know has done it before, somebody that trades themselves. It's like, I'm going to learn to drive. Okay, well, someone's just knocked on my door. He doesn't drive himself, but he's going to teach me. Really? Okay. I'm really a bit nervous. And I think there's a lot to be learned from that. And going with people that that have credibility. I think that word that you used there, Jason, right at the beginning, integrity. It's so important. It's so important. And there's a lot of that lacking in the market at the moment, I'm afraid.
Absolutely. I think you make two good points there, where firstly, what brokers actually do. I mean, that's the first confusion. I think there's this massive thing where people are scared of brokers and they feel like they're out to get them. But as I've said many times before, everything is in fair exchange. Okay. If you need to get access to the market, the broker's job is to give you access to the market, but they get paid. All right. So if you've got this impression that, oh yeah, but they're taking money from me getting in and out, and they've got this agenda to make money. Yes, they have got an agenda to make money. It's as simple as that. But without them, you won't get access to the market, right? And the same goes for those dodgy educators out there who are massively overselling the unrealistic fantasies that you are likely to accumulate in a very short space of time, and the amount of returns you're likely to get in a space of time. Yes, you can earn a lot of money trading, but obviously they're pushing it out too far. They're polarizing you to the extreme. And there's going to be brokers that do the same. There's going to be brokers that really sell that message. What the other point that Stuart just made, which I want to kind of tie into here, was you get humbled. You know, everything evens out over time. So now we're seeing the brokers that are pushing on the hard message of you can, we'll do anything for you. Just open an account. They've really not got your best interest at heart. Now they're being humbled so much that they're having to change their business model. They're having to be educators. And the educators that were out there having it off for 10 years solid, telling everyone that you can earn millions in minutes and anyone can do it. Have you noticed how they're changing their tune now? They're being humbled. Now they're working every day doing educational videos and providing value on their YouTube channels, which they would never have done 5 years ago. I'm not mentioning any names, but I'm sure you guys know a couple, right? And what happens is, if you're too narcissistic and you go out there trying to get me, and you're selfish, you'll be humbled by the market. The market will then, one, never recommend you because you're not getting any results. Two, put bad reviews on you. Three, you'll be churning through clients because you have no repeat business, and you'll be forced to change. You'll be forced to change just the same way as if you was too giving and altruistic. If you was just giving everything away for free, you would have no choice but to put some kind of structure in place to get paid more, because everyone would be recommending you. You'd be providing so much value, people couldn't believe it. You would have an influx of members, and you would have to be forced to become a little bit more narcissistic. You'd have to right now I need to sort this out so there's fair exchange. Everything gets balanced out eventually. What I love about Stuart and Trade Nation is the message has stayed the same throughout. That's the thing. And if you go and watch my videos from 6 years ago, right, almost 7 years ago now, the message is the same. This first video I did, you could watch that, and you could watch a video I did last week, and it's exactly the same message, same approach, same warning, same like everything. And that's the same with Stu. So Stu, what do you think about that? What, you've really had the same message, the same core values since day one, and tell us a little bit about what you value as a brokerage.
I think absolutely right there. It's consistency, isn't it? It's with all of these things. It's being consistent. It's being disciplined, and yeah, we as a business.
That's the integrity bit. That for me is the integrity bit. The people that go up and down, there's not integrity there. That is just trying to figure out how they're going to make the next buck. The people that are doing the same thing all the time, that is integrity. That line in the middle is integrity.
Absolutely, and it's consistency with charges. So, for example, one of the things around Trade Nation is priding ourselves around the charges that we our customers pay to access the market, and it's that consistency of charging. We fix our charges no matter what's going on in the market, whether the market's volatile, whether there's a trade row between China and the US, and the markets are very volatile. Our charges stay consistent. Now, as a trader, you need to have that consistency. You need to know how much you're going to pay to access the markets. Well, why would I need to know? It massively affects your trading strategy, and it also gives you that uncertainty of not knowing when an order might be triggered or a stop loss might be triggered, because the broker changes the rules of the game halfway through.
Yeah, well, just during the night.
Exactly.
And then
and the spread suddenly widen, and the market hasn't moved, or the charges widen and increase, and you come in the morning and you think, okay, well, the market hasn't done it. Hang on.
Yeah.
Why am I not still in my trade?
Yeah.
It's because, sorry, sir, we had to widen our spread overnight our charge overnight because something happened in China.
Yeah.
But nothing actually happened. Well, yes, but the liquidity dropped out of the market. That's a good one. Therefore, we had to increase our charges. And not having that consistency is a very, very difficult thing then to manage as a trader. You know what? There's lots of people out there saying, yeah, we have spreads, that start at zero, or they're hooks. It's like everything, it's marketing hooks. But when you actually get in there and you start experiencing this yourself, the reality is very different. So, one thing that we do pride ourselves on is that consistency. And that message, as you quite rightly say, Jason, has stayed the same since I've been at the company, and will stay the same going forward.
And Trade Nation's previously known as Core Spreads, right? You've done a rebrand, but it was Core Spreads. So it's Core Spreads is the core of the business, which says it all. And really great points. And I want to just reinforce that there's a massive misconception or a confusion, I guess, between when that happens. So you might go for a broker for the cheapest spread, right? And this is so common. People are like, well, I like this broker, but I like that broker because the spreads are cheaper. Before I kind of go into that, I want to firstly say, when you wake up in the night and you experience something like Stuart just said, it's not the broker deliberately trying to take your money on that trade. You have to understand the difference between this. It's not the broker after your money. They don't care about your trade, okay? They just increase the spread, and that is it. So if that increase in spread affects your trade, then, well, tough. That's just happened to be on your trade, but that they are not after your money. Even the traders that do increase the spreads like that, they're not attacking your trade. You have to understand it. They don't know what trade you're in. They don't care what trade you're in. They just are increasing their spread. So you have to know the difference. There's a line between those two. One is you're saying that the broker's trying to attack your trade and take your money, but in actual fact, they're widening their spread, and that's affecting anyone who's in a trade at that point. And so be it, right? So that's the first point. The second point is, I want to go for a broker with the cheapest spread. Now, I've always said that the most important things to consider, or the most important things to me when considering a brokerage, is direct communication. So being able to get hold of someone that you can have a direct communication with, so that you don't have to spend hours on the phone when you're trying to get out of a position or something, and you've lost your broadband, your power, or whatever, and you need to talk to someone, or there's a problem. You need to be able to ring someone and have a direct call with someone, an account manager or something. The second thing is honoring spreads. If you wake up in the night and you haven't been honored and they change their spreads and they're not honoring spreads, that is a big no-no for me, right? And I'll explain a little bit more why. Because when it comes to trading, you guys know that my main thing on trading is, or my main approach to trading is backtesting a strategy, because that gives you the psychological strength to go forward in the markets. We've just done a whole event on this week, which we're wrapping up today. But if you're backtesting a system and a strategy and you find it to be profitable, please remember, as a trader, your edge is so small. Your edge is tiny, okay? So let's just say you've tested a strategy and you've found it to be profitable, and it produces a positive expectancy. What you haven't tested is spread. It's very difficult to test spread. I don't test spread. So the only way you're going to test spread is through journaling in real time and demo trading, and then assessing what you've done over the last 6 months. But back testing to get to that point, to produce a system in the first place, you want to mimic those results as closely as possible when you go forward in the market. Now, that is not going to be done by erratic spreads. So if you're paying cheap spreads and then in the night it goes to 5, 10 pips, 15 pips, or whatever it might be, that's not going to help you with your backtesting results. That's going to, if anything, just completely destroy your results in real time. And as I say, the most important thing for backtesting is to lower your expectations of your system. Because if you've got lower expectations than you're performing, you're going to do okay. If you do something that produces these amazing results, then you go and trade it and you start not performing how your tested results were, that's going to discourage you, it's going to affect you emotionally and mentally, and you're going to jeopardize the system. So fixed, honored spreads is absolutely crucial. And this is why it's not just about a relationship with a broker. It's not just about the cost. It's about the whole system and having an edge. and refine it, being able to refine that edge confidently going forward. So that's what I love about Trade Nation. That's what I love about Stuart. This is not just, something because I'm mates with Stuart. This is obviously logical reasons as to why this all works properly, and this is what you want to be bearing in mind if you're looking at trading. So what are some of the kind of objections that you see in the broker space, just being in that industry in terms of brokerages, as other than spreads? Do you see any kind of accusations or anything like that going on?
It's, you come back to the words consistency and integrity, and finding the broker with good solid regulation. Always look for, yes, regulation has changed. It's changed dramatically in the years that I've been doing this, and FCA have made changes to their rules around leverage. So have Australia, and down in ASIC we have licenses in both countries. We have a license in South Africa. We have a license in Bahamas, and everybody, the fact is that for people looking for higher leverage, yes, there are brokers offering that higher leverage, but just really look at this and respect and understand what leverage means. So many people that go into this without really fully understanding, appreciating, leverage can be your friend, but it also, if it's not respected, can really, really cause problems. So
definitely,
it's not always about looking for the leverage or, seeking that out. It's about finding the broker that's got that good regulation, consistency of charges.
And that's where education comes in as well, right? Because absolutely. There's one thing that a broker offering you leverage, and then there's obviously margin, but then there's also buying and shorting. And when you start using leverage and margin and shorting the market, that's a very dangerous thing to do if you don't appreciate what that actually means. And that's not what a broker's going to teach you. So you have to have the right education going into trading first of all, and then be guided towards a broker that's going to have your best intentions. Sorry, Stu, I cut you off there.
No, not at all. And I think what we are seeing, and you sort of alluded this at the beginning of the podcast, Jason, was that the audience is changing. And what we have seen in the last 18 months is a younger audience coming in, getting involved in this. We saw the Reddit gang, the Wall Street bets, the whole game.
I call it influencer trading. Influencer trading.
And it's attracting a different and a new audience. That's great. But also it's an uneducated audience, and it's an audience who have this attitude of, I'm afraid cryptos have helped sort of fuel this thought of money for nothing. It's easy, this game, you just put a trade on, and everyone buys GameStop, the market goes up and you make a fortune. And you get questions. My 18-year-old nephew, trading Bitcoin. And I'm like, oh my God, it frightens me. And
it's also an audience of people who believe everything they see online.
Oh yeah,
like they just believe it to be gospel, and that's so dangerous. So dangerous.
There's a story, doing the rounds on BBC at the moment. I encourage everyone to have a look for it. But it's around an influencer who effectively, was providing signals, telling everybody that he was a very successful FX trader, and posing in front of very nice cars and luxurious holidays and whatever it might be. And 3.8 million later, all of his followers, 125,000 followers, maybe not all of them invested, but some of them invested considerable amounts. All the money's gone. And it's frightening. It does really worry me. And I think that the regulator, the FCA, have put out warnings recently about watching what's going on. And they're looking at the social media, TikTok, Twitch, all of these different things now, where you can go and watch people trade, or you can go and get tips from people and signals. There's some good stuff out there. Absolutely, there is. There is. In the same way with education, there are some amazing educators out there. That really know their stuff. But there's also a lot of people that are going to try and get you to part with your money as quickly as possible. And it will be trading education today. And as you say, Jason, tomorrow it will be whatever the next fad is, because they'll move on to that, because they've rinsed the audience out their money for this. Now it's on to something else.
I think a common, an obvious warning sign are people who were educating years ago and have now, since COVID in particular, because they've got nowhere to go and do these training, these elaborate training things in hotel rooms and things like that. Look at what they're doing 5-10 years ago, and now look at what they're promoting. And I guarantee you that the wrong ones will be now all of a sudden trying to get you to sign up to a brokerage. That's it. So their model has shifted from education to now focusing on just open a platform, just open a platform, just open a platform. And that will be all they're doing. So there's kind of this hidden agenda there, because although they're now sharing what looks like value on the outside by showing you how to trade a little bit more, whereas they weren't doing that before, but without you paying a couple of grand to go, in the thing. Now they're showing you a little bit more of the charts, but actually the agenda is now to open a platform. And you have to ask yourself, well, why? What's going on? Why has the mission changed in the business so much? You're an educator now. You want me to open a platform? So just look at those warning signs. Use your common sense to think, does this feel right? Because if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. It really isn't. So my aim through this podcast is to share with you my insights, my mistakes that I've made, my hurdles that I've come across, and barriers and side swipes and all this kind of thing across the years, and share with you my partner network, so that if you do decide that you need to get advice or just ring someone up and ask a bit more, then you've got the people that I trust. Over this podcast, we've had Fanny Snaith, Andrew Wilson, we've had Ben Coomer, we've had lots and lots of my friends and partner network on this podcast, and Dan Priestley. And I truly believe that if you want advice on these particular things, Tara Halliday, imposter syndrome, Fanny Snaith, money coaching, Andrew Wilson, accounting, Stuart Lane, brokerages. If you want advice from these things, these are the people I get advice from. These are the people that I get advice from. So I hope that if you have seen a tweet and you've decided that, you are interested in trading, because believe me, it's not doom and gloom. Like it's provides you with a phenomenal lifestyle. It really can. But there's a little bit of work to do before you get to that point, and you need to focus on not wasting time. One thing about the financial industry is a month can take years and years off of your results. It really can, because it's financial. A lot of people save up a ton of money, open an account, blow it within 90 days. And then that's shaved off. That's basically added 5 years, 10 years to get back to that point. And they go around in circles because they didn't learn anything in that time. They're now back at square one and now they've got to pay to learn. So it's going to cost them even more. So I really hope that you take on board what we're talking about here. And I hope that you consider, first of all, we're running a trading event this week. Today is the last day of the event. The recordings will be up for about another week or two. tier1trading.com/red-zone-resilience. We'll put the link below. It's Red Zone Resilience. You can go and get the recordings. It's a great event. And the reason it's called Red Zone Resilience is because it's aimed at all of these retail traders that have come in the space over the last 18 months. And actually it's declined from January because we saw them get burned last year. And now they're in a bit of a place where, I do want to get involved, but that really hurt. So this event is specifically designed to kind of reset you, vaccinate you, immunize you, and get you back out into the market with a language that we're all used to now. So Stu, I want to say thanks for coming on, mate. But before we head off, tell the listeners how they can find you and your company if they want to call you and inquire about brokerages.
Absolutely, thank you. Well, here's the plug. So tradenation.com is the website. I think, going back to what you were talking about in knowing who you're speaking to, or being able to contact someone, click on the navigation up there and go to meet the team. All of our pictures are on there. Some horrendous pictures, especially of me. But all of the team, everybody in the company is on there, and everybody is there for you. If you want to speak to somebody in the support team and better understand what we do, better understand the markets. As I say, we're not an educator. We're providing access to a platform. We can't give you advice about what to trade, how to trade it. That's what Jason's there for. That's what, people are there to help you, but they're people that, sit outside of what a broker does. And that's where you go to get your information. We don't do all of our shopping in the supermarket. We need to go different places to get different items. And this is exactly the same. You're going to use a broker to access the market. You're going to use Jason for your education.
Amazing. Well, guys, I just want to say, fantastic episode. Thanks for listening. I hope you got value from that. As we say, we're running an event until the end of the week. So if you want to go and register for that, it's Red Zone Resilience, tier1trading.com/red-zone-resilience. And until next week, have a great rest of your day and weekend, and I'll see you then.
For news on all future events and updates, go to jasongraystone.com.